Well, good evening, and thank you so much for joining me this evening. This evening on the uh, In Review Thursday night. Thank you for those joining me on TikTok, those joining me on Instagram, those joining me also on Facebook, and also especially on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining in this discussion. And this is a very interesting week. So much things have happened. I mean, there's always things happening each week in the UK. We're seeing in the incident in Liverpool, which was very concerning. And we're going to talk about that. The gentleman has been named and he's being charged. Should I call him gentleman? But anyway, and also you're seeing whereby Trump, they're saying the courts have said that he has overdone his what he should be doing is overstep his boundaries, a bit ultra virus when he does all these different tariffs. And also something which is very interesting also, which I wanted to touch on, and that's the end in regards to Jamaica. There's been some recent appointment for a very key area and department in Jamaica. And there's very concerning that there was even just recently a press conference in regards to this. The Department of Financial Investigation, a very key area. And also we had Robert Jenrick, who went down to the in Stratford and was actually challenging persons who were, what should I say, not paying their tickets as well. And also we're seeing what is happening in Ukraine, and also in Africa as well. But without further ado, I'm starting on. Let me just bring in my co-guest, Mr. Gary Graham. Sir Gary, how are you doing, sir?
Not bad at all, my friend. How are you?
I'm cool in the Malibu. Very, very interesting day. I like your background. I think, are you in the land of Trump or something like that? Are you in Trump land?
Not really. I'm wishing I was there.
You're wishing you're in the land of Trump, of course, because your dad is there
Yeah.
anyhow still in it. So that's understandable, you know. And listen, Gary, it's a very interesting week. I know we didn't touch last week, but last week was also very hectic as well. I was looking at this recent incident um, where the Liverpool supporters were having a good time and they were celebrating. At the same time, Crystal Palace was, and then this vehicle uh, ran into the crowd. A weapon. You always talk about the weapon in your hand. They say a knife in your hand is a weapon. Uh, a gun in your hand is a weapon. The person behind it, an airplane can be a weapon, and vehicles can be a weapon. You know, what's your thoughts about this, and also the naming of the person very quickly.
Um. Well, let me first again say it's great to be with you on your platform. I think for the past 2 weeks, is it 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we haven't really been able to connect with you
Yes,
for one thing or
yes,
another.
yes,
And the last one was to me very important. Anyway, it's a good meeting, I believe, and I hope and I trust that the discussion will continue with the people in question.
yes.
However, the what took place over the weekend really is surprising, but not surprising. I tell you why.
Mm,
During the celebrations, and I was watching at times the proceedings and the buses and the celebrations of the Liverpoolians, isn't it? Or Liverpool supporters anyway. And
yes. Mm,
the thought that came into my mind, Silborn, was it's a wonder that that what's happened in Germany, what's happened in the US, what happened. I think there was another place where it took place. I think somewhere else in Europe. Hasn't happened yet because there were celebrations in Liverpool. There were celebrations, Crystal Palace, and there were celebrations at Wembley Stadium. Crystal Palace, they won something, and the Arsenal women's team, they won their trophy. And I was thinking, well, nothing really has happened as yet. I'm just wondering. It's a wonder nothing has happened. Put it that way. Only to find out, probably it was an hour or two later, that that this gentleman came in behind an ambulance.
An ambulance, yes.
Mowed down so many of those who were celebrating with Liverpool Football Club. It's a pity. It's a shame. But I think at the same time, probably there was a lapse. As they say, there could have been a lapse in the security. Shouldn't really have allowed a car to come in behind, behind an ambulance so quickly or so closely. Anyway, but
yes,
the naming of the individual, I think, was very quick. Everything, if you notice, was done very quickly. And those around me at the time who saw this was wondering, well, and I think there was a bit of a talk or a conversation, I think, in the news amongst the commentators to say, well, they wanted to at least squash the rumor mill that it was either that it was either terrorist or an Asian or a black man or whoever it was.
Yes.
But you see, if it was anybody else, I don't know if anybody else feels this way or sees it, but probably if it was anybody else other than an Englishman or someone of an English descent,
yes,
that I believe probably it wouldn't have come out so quickly. I think they would have taken time.
Okay, you mean to say to sort of keep the keep it down, and the reason why they did it like that is to diffuse it very quickly because of if we have the similarity with what happened, which created the lots of people being arrested because of what they said, like this girl Lucy Connolly, who is still in prison as well because of words what they wrote on social media. So that was a way, but even at the same time, rumor mongers are persons out there who are actually saying that it wasn't the person, but Mr. Paul Doyle, a father of three, a former Royal Marine, has been charged following the Liverpool parade crash in which 79 people were injured. Paul Doyle, 53, from Burghley Road in West Derby, arrested on Monday when a car plowed into fans attending Liverpool's Premier League's victory. A 9-year-old among those were injured when the car Mr. Doyle is alleged to have been driving crashed into the supporters. Now, fortunately, no one died, which but at the same time, this was really a very damaging situation, and a lapse in security.
So I don't know, Phil. I don't know if we just have to hope and pray that this does not escalate or it doesn't get any worse. But again, that's just hoping because things just increasingly seems to be getting worse. I'm not saying it's frequent. Things like this is not frequent here, but it's not the first this happened, is it? It's not the first time that something like this
But
has
but,
happened.
but 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 how could something of the but how could something of this nature get out of hand in a way?
Well,
I
obviously, I
would
mean,
I would this nature.
I think where crowds are, then anybody. I mean, it is said. I don't know if it's proven, but it was said he was under the influence of drugs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Am I correct or not?
I,
Yeah.
I, I, I saw one of the videos whereby there seemed to be having some altercation. I'm sorry. Sorry, you said Gary?
No,
Yeah.
no. Go ahead.
Yeah. Anyway, local businessman Mr. Doyle he's faces multiple counts of causing and attempting to cause unlawful and malicious grievously body harm with intent, as well as one of dangerous driving and 2 counts of unlawful and malicious wounding with intent. So we just hope and pray that none of the persons pass away and that they recover. But you see, what happened now is that persons are going to be very a bit apprehensive about crowds. But personally, I don't like crowds in a way, So I wouldn't be caught in these massive crowds and these carnival things, Not just don't like that sort of atmosphere, But we just hope that things taper down as much as possible and the people enjoy themselves. Crystal Palace enjoy themselves. Liverpool enjoy themselves as well. But another thing now is, I don't know if you've been watching about Trump. Trump cases could head to Supreme Court as soon as Friday. Those massive tariffs that he was putting on. You know, you know what people think about these.
Well,
What do you guys think about that? Debbie and Joyce and Christine, the person. What do you think about Trump? Trump administration said it will take its tariff case to the Supreme Court Friday unless an order that struck down many of President Donald Trump's new import taxes is put on hold. Come on, man.
I mean, these things only it delays it, but it doesn't stop anything, does it? I mean,
Yes.
it doesn't stop anything.
I think it will yeah. I think it will somewhat aggravate the base because Trump, whether you like him or not, came into under a particular mandate. But the one thing about what the court is actually saying, if I'm not mistaken, what the court is actually saying, it is not that tariffs are illegal, but the way it is done in that way. That is what it is. In a filing on Thursday, lawyers for the White House asked the Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit to block that decision. So what it says, the decision victory for small business states that have challenged measures took aim at policies at the heart of Trump. The court decision drew fury from Trump officials as who said they were examples of judicial overreach. America cannot function if President Trump or any other president for that matter has their sensitive diplomatic or trade negotiations railroaded by activist judges. Right? That's what Caroline Leavitt has said. You call it activist judges. Trump administration said the decision issued Wednesday by a lower trade court that improperly second-guessed the president and threatened to unravel months of hard-fought trade negotiations. And the political branches, not courts, make foreign policies and chart economic policy, it said in the filing. Yeah. Is Trump the president or not the president? president? Maybe that's the question that many will ask. Who is the president of America? You know? Is it Trump? Is it the court? You know, what do you guys think? Anyone think? Who is the president? You know, is it was it that he overreached himself? Ultra virus?
Well, it is. It's. I mean, it was. I heard a statement made today. I think it's by one of the judges in the United States there that said that President Trump, is not ruling the world, something of that nature. And we can certainly see that Trump has put himself up as the man who is trying to orchestrate things in the world. I mean, look at something outside of the tariffs, where it's the war between Russia and Ukraine, and he made a statement to say, well, he's going to be talking to to Putin, or he's giving Putin an ultimatum, more or less, that if he refuses, then he's going to do something. I mean, look what Trump is saying. Look what Trump is doing. He's putting himself up as the man with the plan, really. Has he really overstretched himself? Has he really overdone it? You know, is he really overdoing it? Because that's what seems to be happening in our world today. Right now in politics, there is no one individual in our world today that can be compared to President Donald J. Trump. There is none. Whether he's doing right or wrong, whether his policies are hurtful or not, it doesn't. I'm not looking at what he's doing politically. Look at the stature of the man. Now, I know that there are several men in Europe that is trying to stand up against him or to stand with him, which is like Emmanuel Macron. You got him. You've got Keir
well, I think Macron has more issues regarding being punched in his face. Well,
you have Merz, who's the German chancellor. You got several individuals. I mean, you mentioned about Macron and his wife. I mean, you can almost say the same thing with Trump and Melania. You know, it hasn't been said that Melania has pushed Trump in his face, but there's been several. The rumor mill has been rife between them two. I'm not talking really about that. When you look at Trump, there is no one individual that can command an attention.
Yes.
And whatever he says, his actions, is unparalleled. There is no man. There is absolutely no political individual that can stand up against Trump. I don't care who it is. There isn't one. And I'm not saying I'm for Trump, and I'm not saying I'm against him. I'm just wanting everyone to step back and look at all the political animals or the political men or women who are in influential positions in our world and tell me which one really has the stamina and the stature like Trump. I would challenge anybody.
So we say there's no one at this moment who can stand as Trump standing tall. But then America has always been a very strong force. But then Biden wasn't a strong force. Well, you know.
I mean, the America of today and the America under Biden, or the America under Obama, or the America under Bush, or whoever it is a completely different America. You can't compare to America under even Father Bush or Reagan to the America of today. You can't. It's a completely different America.
Yes, yeah.
It's a completely different America. It's a completely different world.
Yeah. Yes. But what do people say about those on TikTok and Facebook and YouTube? What do you say about Trump at this point in regards to the tariffs? The fact that the court has put a stop on him, but at the same time, I did see another article that says that that for a while, but we think the fact that for don't say the Democrat, Trump was saying that there's certain which they eventually come out and to vote in order to Democrats just completely sit on it. And that's so important. Anyway, let's go on and talk about and all we're seeing here also into position in dealing with the so-called the new opposition will say is
I think we've lost Stillborn. He was kind of breaking up for me. I don't know if there's anybody there that had that same experience. But I think he was addressing the situation between the president of the United States and those the Democrats,
yeah,
and even those who are in court. Yeah, we lost you there for a big sale.
Yeah, I realized, and for the record, I did pay my bill, you know.
Yeah. But you were saying
No. I was just saying this about where do we see things now flowing regarding Kemi, Nigel Farage, and Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer rolled back. Well, the reality is that it's rolled back now the decision regarding fuel. So the winter fuel is going to be kicking back into play as far as we're concerned. But you are seeing whereby Nigel Farage and Reform is really moving forward because they are now in some form of government in the UK with the councils. Whether we like who are the persons who are there, whether they're young or old, but they're in position as the new kid on the block. They may not have the experience, but they are there getting the level of experience because even councillors, when councillors come into any local authority, the councillors are still being monitored and they are being taken care of in a sense by the technocrats, by the legal experts, by the administration, right? And they will be advised as to what is legal or what is not legal. That's why you got lawyers working within local authority. That's why some lawyers that work in local authority, they cannot be involved in politics because they're in restrictive posts. These restrictive posts are there because they are going to be advising councillors from different political parties. And likewise, they don't want to say a person who is affiliated to the Labour Party or to the Reform or to the Conservative is an active politician advising one of their opponents or so. They'll call that conflict of interest. So these persons that Reform has in place, they are there and they're going to be learning in the meantime. You know? So what is it for Kemi? What is it for the Conservative now?
Well, it's not. I mean, I saw something on watching BBC News this morning, about 10 o'clock, and it came up. It was on BBC World News, It said something of the nature that Kemi may be a backward step for the Conservative Party. But that's nothing new for me. I don't think it should be. I don't think it should be a surprise to you, because Kemi, to me, as far as I'm concerned, Kemi was only a stopgap measure.
You think so?
Kemi has done well. Yeah, Kemi has done well. There's nothing negative about Kemi that I would say, because we have said it on the platform, haven't we? We've said that Kemi, she comes up front as far as Starmer is concerned on PMQs. She always seems to put Starmer on the back foot.
Yes,
and he comes forward and he's almost on the verge, I think, of disrespect when he fires back. When he fired back at Kemi. But I cannot see, honestly, and I wouldn't expect the Conservative Party to bring for them to be led by Kemi in the next election. If they did, I tell you straight from now, I would be shocked.
Yes.
If they did, and I'm not saying they can't do it. I will never say never in that regard. But I don't expect them to. She has done well, but I expect the Conservative Party to. Someone is going to start the action. Somebody's going to bring the action.
Yeah.
Because listen to this again, Sil. I heard what I heard. I listened when Michael Farage. It is Michael Farage, isn't it?
Nigel Farage.
Nigel Farage. I did hear when he made his press conference, when he did his press conference the other morning.
Yes.
And I listened to him, and I watched him, and I'm not saying I would vote for him. I am not a member of the Reform Party. And I don't. Did you
say you would vote for him?
I said I've never voted for him.
Okay. I thought you said you would vote for him this time around. Yeah.
No, I don't think I did say that. But I don't think. But I don't think that there is any political leader in the UK at this moment that has an answer for Niger. I don't think so.
So what you're saying, there's no... Go on, sorry.
Because Starmer, he wouldn't win another election. I don't think the country's behind it.
Yeah, definitely.
With Kemi, I don't know if the people are ready for Kemi, and especially the Conservative Party, and that may frighten people into thinking who would lead the Conservative Party. Because for me, I don't see anybody within the Conservative Party that draws attention. Remember, for that kind of leadership, you need to be charismatic, and you need to be able to pull people to you. And I don't see that amongst the Conservative Party. But I don't think that they are settled with Kemi. Not to say Kemi can't lead them, but I don't think they're really very settled with Kemi. But with Nigel, I think that Nigel, he's like a Donald Trump, because he's focused. He knows what he wants. He knows where he's going, and I think that is what is troubling Labour. Now, it's very funny, and I'll finish after this, Phil. It's very funny how how the Labour Party, before they won, before the election came about, in their manifesto, in their talking, they spoke just like what Farage would speak. Not saying it's the same policies, no.
Or speaking with conviction, you mean?
What they would do. Well, what they would do, what they would not do, what they would, address, what they would not address. However, when Nigel almost comes with the same outlook on what he would do, or what he wants to address, and what he would not do, they have everything to say that his policies are pie in the sky. Well, the Labour Party's manifesto was pie in the sky. And they've come into government and they've completely done the complete opposite. So really, all what they're saying that Nigel's policies is this, Nigel's policies is that, and it won't work. Well, none of Labour's policies has worked so far as I'm concerned. And they have totally turned the country against.
Well, Rishi Sunak, many things that Rishi Sunak said has come to pass. Anyhow, Rishi Sunak, when he stood there and said, oh my word, many things he has said here has come to pass. But let me play something here with Robert Jenrick. Ladies and gentlemen on TikTok, let me know if you can hear me. Gifted Zan, Esteem Caribbean, Florine. Let me know if you can hear me, Belen. Let me know if you can hear me clearly on TikTok. Last week, people weren't here, so give me a thumbs up or so if you can hear me. There is this. Let me play something here, and that is in regards to Jenrick. Listen to this.
Excuse me, do you think it's all right not to pay? Seriously, why do you go back to the barrier and pay? Do you want to go back and pay like everybody else? Do you think it's all right not to pay? Why don't you go back and pay? You can say off as much as you want, but everyone else has to pay. You're carrying a knife, you say? Nearly 1 in 25 people using London's public transport aren't paying for it. So there's 8 officers down there, but 1 minute away, that gate's wide open. It's also just annoying watching so many people break the law and get away with it.
Or at least most of it.
Right, should we go over here to these guys here? Excuse me, gents.
Hello.
You're on camera, mate. You're banged to rights. Just step to the side. All right, thanks very much, guys.
Yeah. What do you think? That is Jenrick there. Is Robert Jenrick, you see, positioning himself as a potential person that will take over from Kemi, but being at the same time very loyal. You know, he will not come out against Kemi, being loyal, but at the same time, she has given him a free hand, in a sense, as a justice opposition minister to go about and doing things. That was him there at the underground.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing there, but I mean I'm just saying there isn't anybody, not even January. He doesn't appeal to me. He doesn't really appeal to me. There isn't anybody. There isn't anybody. I mean, with Nigel is the only one. Nigel is charismatic. Nigel has charisma, and he's saying the things that people want to hear. Not only that, but I think that he really means what he says. He means what he says, and people are voting for the Reform Party. Now, whether it's a protest vote or not, I can't say. I'm not a political analyst. But obviously, with the way how they performed in the last by-elections or council elections, they won seats. The point is they won seats. They got the attention of the voters, and people voted them in. That is the point, Silborn. And Labour is not serious enough to take the things back from. They would have to completely do a U-turn on their present policy, in the present direction they're going.
Yes.
Which, of course, is not going to go down with a lot of people because they've done U-turns already. And what is the Chancellor's name? Is it Reeves? What's her name? The Chancellor.
Rachel Reeves. Rachel Reeves.
Rachel. She hasn't got the confidence of the country. I don't see she has not got the confidence of the country.
Well, I see Angela
Even
Rayner. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
No, it's the same person I was going to say. Angela Rayner. I don't think again. She has to really be careful of the her facial expressions and her
At Prime
posture.
Minister's question time.
Yeah, she has to be careful because people are reading what she does. And she doesn't show as if she has any confidence in the leader of the Labour Party. I don't think she does. Obviously, she may, obviously, she may come out, not because of what I'm saying, but she may come out on the newspapers or in the periodicals or on BBC or on ITV and says that she supports the leader of the Labour Party. And I would expect her to say that. Because the day she comes out and can't give a definitive statement that she supports her leader, then it's over. It's over for the Labour Party. Because obviously there's going to be a very large chasm, a rift between in the leadership. She's not saying it, but her facial expressions and her mannerisms is showing that. Still.
Yeah. It is something that I've been watching a lot, and I keep harping on it as to her facial expression and to when he's actually speaking, and is she really with it? But I believe that there's grumblings in the Labour Party. You just like it is what it is. It's less than a year. It's less than a year, and I believe what Starmer seems to be doing is trying to go harsh within a fair, and then deal with the fallout, and then have the next 2 years or so to pacify and to give things over and to see things turning around. Because they can't keep saying 14 years of mismanagement. They keep years of mismanagement. I don't think that can be, and it's fictitious to a black hole, which they keep alluding to a lot. That can't be something which is being said continuously. If you get what I'm trying to say, Gary. So something will have to give at some point, whereby the Labour Party will have to face the people, and there was a 500,000 man march, not man march, but people came out. Not many people, I understand, came out, but a lot of people came out to march as well last, against the Labour Party and to what they're doing. So we see. I mean, next year there's going to be elections. Next year there's going to be local government election in London or so. Many people are getting a bit annoyed by Sadiq Khan because, I don't know if you have been through the Blackwall Tunnel, David. The Blackwall Tunnel, now you got a charge. They're charging you to go through the Blackwall Tunnel. And they're proposing that council tax is going to go up to £18. Gary. So
what?
and yet, sorry,
£18?
Yeah, that's what that's a proposal. I've seen a proposal. Where they're talking about some concept. For what? Congestion charge.
£18.
Gary, man.
I know. Well, you guys. You Londoners, man. You keep putting Khan back. I don't know what. It's just you complain. All you Londoners down there, you complain about this. You complain about that. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do that. But when it comes to putting somebody else in, you still put Khan back. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up, Gary. And in many areas, even in Lewisham here, when there's bad mismanagement of money or whatever, all they do is just increase the council tax. Simple as that.
It's really, it really does not. It's not fair. It really isn't fair for
and
people.
people just accept that. Yeah.
I know.
Yes. Yeah. Well, listen, there's something which has happened recently in Jamaica, and I want to wrap up on this point here. There's they're about bank account, and hear about the different business that he has.
Who's that? Who? Because you're breaking
And
up.
and one of the things they're trying is to have some sort of investigation. There's a financial. Sorry, no, I said investigation onto the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness. Can you hear me? You don't hear me clearly. Can you hear me?
It's the signal. I think coming down to me here. Sometimes I miss words and all that kind of thing. So it's not
okay.
It's not flowing.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What next?
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, good. You hear me. Yes. So, but there's been a press conference today, and I find this very interesting because of the fact that there's a person which has been appointed to run this particular organization, but the person who has been appointed, I'm breaking up here. Milverton Heights says I'm breaking up. Am I breaking up? Am I breaking up? Breaking. 1, 2, 3. Somebody say I'm breaking up. Actually, I don't know what happened, Gary. Maybe I haven't paid my bill properly. Maybe I need to pay my bill properly. The bill is being static. But listen, let me play this press conference. This will sort of explain, and let's hope that we can actually hear it. I'm gonna see if I can get this press conference up. God, this is very interesting, and let's see if we can play it. And give me a thumbs up if you can hear Gary when it starts to play. Give me a thumbs up. Let me see if I can. So we'll start. Watch live.
Retirement isn't about reaching a particular age
I don't want
or how much you've spent without having to.
Yeah. Can you hear Gary? Gary, can you hear?
Good morning. Yeah, that's how it goes.
I can hear that now.
Welcome
Whatever they say.
to Oprah. Today, first conference to address a matter of urgent national importance, and we will be having 3 speakers that will be coming to address it today. First up will be the leader of the opposition, the president of the People's National Party. Mr. Mark Woden, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. The matter of the Integrity Commission report into the statutory declarations filed by the Prime Minister and their investigation of his affairs in relation to, in particular, the offense of illicit enrichment has been of grave national concern to Jamaicans at home and abroad. The Integrity Commission, after the extensive investigation, due to a lack of information forthcoming from the Prime Minister on critical elements of facts that were relevant to the matters that they were investigating, felt it necessary to refer the matter to the Financial Investigations Division and Tax Administration Jamaica for further investigation on different aspects of what had come out in their investigations. It is therefore of critical importance that the Financial Investigations Division, which has been without a chief technical director for some time since the resignation and departure of Selwyn Hay, that it be led by somebody who is competent in the kind of issues that the FID is set up to deal with as an investigative agency, and also be
Are you there, sir? Hello, Silver? It seems as if we have been cut off here. Are you there, sir? If you are addressing me, I can't hear you.
being used to purchase financial investments in the name of and for the benefit of Mr. Holness's personal companies. On each of these matters, he publicly sought to take a position that's led to the impression that there was nothing amiss, there's no case to answer, everything is above board. Even the nil returns filed by companies that had bank accounts with hundreds of millions of dollars passing through them, he said there was nothing peculiar about that. Nil tax returns. He clearly is a biased person on this matter. He clearly would have a conflict leading the FID to investigate this matter. And that is why we're saying he should resign that position if he's accepted it, or the appointment should be rescinded and revoked forthwith. It is too vital to Jamaica's democracy and the rule of law in our country that what will be the most important and significant investigation by the FID in its history should not be led by somebody who has taken a position on key issues that are the substance of that investigation, positions which are in favor of the Prime Minister, as opposed to positions which the FID ought to be investigating in a non-biased, non-partisan way, based on what the findings of the Integrity Commission were already on those matters. And that is why we thought it necessary to call this press conference today to state for the record that we are totally opposed to this appointment, that we feel that this appointment is itself a corrupt act because it's furthering what we believe is going to be an attempted cover-up of this matter, and that we are calling upon Jamaica to ensure that this does not go any further.
Gary, Gary, I don't know if you understand what is happening there. Just want to sort of Gary, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah, I just want to ask you if you understand what is happening there.
No, because it had I don't know if you were aware that the transmission cut and it had frozen. It had frozen, so I didn't hear the whole extent.
Okay. Well, I think Well, what has happened is that there's been an appointment by the Prime Minister with a gentleman called Mr. Dennis Chung. He was the chair or head of the Football Federation, and he's now he's going to be appointed as a financial investigation division person. But what the opposition is actually saying is that this organization, which is supposed to be investigating the Prime Minister in regards to the statutory declaration issue, because I believe that the Integrated Commission, IC, had make reference to for it to be investigated by the FID. This also is a part of the whole thing regarding the 28 bank account and different companies. But because this gentleman, in his utterance in the past, has said he doesn't see anything wrong with what the Prime Minister is doing. So therefore, they're saying it's a conflict of interest. And because it is that he deemed to be a strong advocate and a strong partisan person in regards to the JLP. That is what they're talking about. Now, I put that in a way, and I always like to juxtapose it when it comes on to very key positions. Key positions are, what should I say? They're like in the States, when you're going to put people in key positions, they tend to be grilled from different sides, the Democrats and Republican. And I believe in a key position like this as well, somehow there should be some sort of a united front by the powers that be in Jamaica. An era like this should be deemed to be whereby the opposition is satisfied with it and the government is satisfied with it. But if there's a cry of foul, there need to be a rethink. I don't know what person say. Milverton, what do you say about what I say? Those on TikTok, what do you say about what I say? And those on Instagram and YouTube, what do you say about what I say? I believe in key positions like these, there need to be a united front and there should be an agreement. So this is what they have come out very quickly to set the stage and to set it out like that. Make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, you see, if
you got
thank you. Based on the decisions that Mr. Hawkins have made in the past, I mean, do you really think he's going to make a decision now that is not going to be as screwed as those he's made in the past? Or you mean
in his favor in light of the fact that there is an election pending?
Yeah, I mean he's. I mean, I think that I mean, is this gentleman suited for that position? I don't know him, but is he suited for that position?
Well, I'm gonna let this play some more, and they're gonna talk about the type of person and the qualifications that such a person should have. Listen up, and please, if you're not hearing properly, anyone, Gary, just send a message, type a message through, or Milverton, say something. Yeah, okay.
And at this point, I'm going to hand over to my colleagues who will go into different aspects of this in greater detail. And so I'm going to ask Julian Robinson to speak next.
This is SanDisk's newly launched high-speed portable hard drive.
Good afternoon. Jamaica has, over the many years, developed a strong reputation of having institutional integrity in terms of our anti-corruption framework. From the Integrity Commission to other institutions that have the responsibility for investigating financial crimes, both in the public and the private sector. If we look at the history of individuals who have been charged to lead, certainly the FID, you'll see persons who have extensive backgrounds in either law enforcement, financial crimes, anti-money laundering, etc. This is the first time that an individual, while having general accounting and management experience, would be leading the FID without specific investigative experience. And the position is Chief Technical Director. And people might say, yes, there are persons within the organization who may have the technical expertise, but this position requires someone who has that specific expertise. And it is important for us to maintain the credibility of the country's financial, the investigation of financial crimes. Putting Dennis Strong there, I believe, threatens that credibility which is not just local, but credibility which is international, because the FID is the main interface with other international organizations who cooperate with the country in investigating financial crimes. And so we see the appointment as a retrograde step, actually, and it has implications for how Jamaica would be perceived within the international community in relation to this particular matter. And so, as the opposition leader has said, the appointment should be rescinded. Mr. Chung should not accept it, because at best, the perception of bias is there, and the reality in this case, having already pronounced on a number of these issues, it is almost impossible for that reality of bias not to be seen there. And if the outcome of this investigation, which as the leader said is the most important that FID will ever undertake, absolves the Prime Minister of any wrongdoing, then it will just play into the hands of everyone who was said. You sent that person there for that particular outcome. So probably rescinded, and an individual who is appropriately qualified with the experience and who has no taint of political bias should be appointed to head the FID. I'll invite my colleague, Mr. Bunting, to speak further.
Can I just ask, because I can hear clearly, were we being cut off, Gary?
It was intermittent at times. It wasn't flowing. You know, I think there's something wrong with the internet this evening.
Yes. Okay, no problem. Okay, let us continue there, because Mr. Bunting is going to set out the qualifications for someone of that nature, of that particular piece of work. Let me just play this here.
Thank you, Julian. Good afternoon, everyone. When I heard of this announcement yesterday afternoon, I reached out to an authority on financial crime and asked them to state the ideal qualifications and experience for the exec, and I just used
What's going on there, my friend? It looks like it looks like still as once more
integrity institution charged with combating money laundering, terrorist financing, and other financial crimes. The candidate should meet international expectations for independence, competence, and credibility. With respect to academic and professional qualifications, a master's degree in law finance.
Can I just stop right there? Were you hearing everything, Gary?
We lost you.
I just want to stop. I just want to check something for a second. Were you? Okay, I think that is when I think I did that deliberately. That was when I put up. I think I did that when I put up Mr. Chung picture, and I think it lost the other bit there. So that was a mistake which I made right there. Let me just bring back Mr. Bunting. Let me start with Mr. Bunting here.
Yeah.
Charged with combating money laundering, terrorist financing, and other financial crimes. The candidate should meet international expectations for independence, competence, and credibility. With respect to academic and professional qualifications, a master's degree in law, finance, economics, criminology, accounting, public administration, or related fields was the minimum academic requirement. They then went on to say they would need specialized training in anti-money laundering or counter-terrorist financing certifications, training in forensic accounting, cybercrime, financial intelligence, or asset recovery. With regard to relevant experience, they said they should have at least 10 years experience in financial crime investigation, compliance, or intelligence gathering, with 5+ years in senior management or executive roles. Proven leadership of multidisciplinary and cross-border teams, overseeing complex case analysis, data management systems, and interagency coordination. In terms of financial crime investigation and analysis, they should have direct experience in conducting or supervising investigations into A, money laundering and related predicate offenses, B, terrorist financing, C, asset tracing and forfeiture, and D, knowledge of typologies, red flags, and financial flows relevant to organized crime, cyber-enabled crime, and corruption. In terms of legal and regulatory knowledge, familiarity with the FATF recommendations, Egmont Group standards, and domestic AML and CFT legal frameworks, and experience working with or within law enforcement, regulatory authorities, prosecutors, or financial supervisors. And then in terms of the international cooperation, they spoke to a track record of engagement with international counterparts, including FIUs, law enforcement, FATF-style regional bodies such as CFATF and the Egmont Group, and the ability to negotiate memoranda of understanding and lead international case collaboration. In terms of essential competencies, they highlighted the integrity and independence needed for the role, unimpeachable ethics, and capacity to lead an institution free from political interference.
My teeth will fall into pieces.
Can't hear you.
Okay, sorry. I stop it right there. I stop it right there.
No, it's interesting. It's interesting. Because Milton Hyde says, does such a person exist? Now, how old is Chung? How old is he?
I don't know. How old is he?
What?
They say
Well, I tell you what.
35. He brings over 35 years of experience in accounting and financial management to the role, having served in both the public and private.
Yeah, how old is he though? How old is he?
I don't know. Why?
No, because I'm telling you, with their kind of with the qualifications and the experiences that Mr. Bunting is asking for, you need somebody who's in his late 50s, almost 60, to be going into that post.
Well, I think Dennis is around. Dennis is around 50, in his near 50, in his 50s, I would say.
Are you
he
sure?
Looks young.
Are you?
Yeah, I think so. Dennis has been on my show already. I know Dennis. Dennis around 50, going to 60, if anything. He looks young, but
don't guess. You mustn't guess that. You can't guess something like that. You see,
Milverton Hyde. Milverton Hyde as well as that. Sorry, Gary. Yeah,
Mr. Hyde is right. Does that person exist? They don't want him. They don't want this guy. Yes. Now they may have every reason. The PNP may have every reason for not wanting him, and they're finding everything. They're pulling out all the stuff for this guy not to be in the position. Yes. So obviously, the way how they're presenting it, yes, and the qualifications, I mean, it may be right, but they're pulling out all the stuff possible so that Mr. Chung here does not take the position. But the way how they're presenting it, and I'm not wrong, I can't find any fault with the qualifications of what they desire. But I don't think this guy here is of the age, the way how they feel that he needs to be in there. Because this guy has to be 100 years old before he can go in there. If you follow them.
They need someone who's at the age of age.
Forensic this and forensic that, and cross, legalities of the whole world. They have to bring that in. That's why I said, how old is this guy? Because this guy has to. What they want is a guy that is internationally known. He's internationally feared, and he knows every legality that this world has to offer in order for him to fulfill the requirements of what the Prime Minister of Jamaica wants him to do.
Yes. It is very interesting, and that is why, that's one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to the next election. And one of the things which I've said, just like I spoke about during the local government elections, I did say that the public should challenge the councillors and say, have you signed up to the 7 Code of Conduct, the 7 Nolan Principles in honesty, objectivity, transparency, accountability, leadership, selflessness, and I think maybe I missed 1 or 2, if anything like that. And likewise, the public should also be challenging the prospective parliamentary candidates, because you and I know that once an election is called, then all MPs will cease, and only the government led by the Prime Minister and the cabinet will continue, along with the executive and the technical people will be running the country for that period of time. So all MPs cease, and everyone will become prospective parliamentary candidates, become PPC. And then they'll be going to the people of Jamaica and said, here I am, vote me in, and I'll do this, and blah, blah, blah. And I would challenge the Jamaican people to challenge each person who is putting themselves forward to run, wherever they're running for. I said, have you signed up to the 7 Nolan Principles, the 7 Code of Conduct? I understand that the government side has not signed up to it, but yet at the same time, as Marlon Morgan said to me on my show, what he said is that, well, by virtue of the fact that they swear allegiance to the king or governor general or whatever like that, they acknowledge certain things that they need to do. So in a way, it is a similarity. But no, they have not signed up to the 7 code of conduct. I also say that another question that should be put to each member of parliament or prospective parliamentary candidate is ask them this question: are you one of the persons who are being investigated? You're being investigated for illicit enrichment, Gary. And we all know that illicit enrichment is what we call corruption. Illicit enrichment is whereby the money that you have or how you seem to be living is not adding up to a certain extent. And therefore, that is why you have the level of things going on. That's why statutory declaration and all these things are not being sorted. That is why there's that, and that is why this thing is big, this FID, because there are question signs, which is public knowledge, about the 28 bank accounts, about the companies the prime minister have, about the fact that the statutory declaration cannot be certified for the past year. You know what I'm saying? You know. But anyway, Milverton Hyde just said a while ago that he went to school with Mr. Chung. So Milverton Hyde, how old are you? Are you 100 years old, 95 years, or 70 years? Milverton, if you tell us your age, and then Gary can work it out.
No, I mean, the thing about it, Sil, is that, I mean, I'm not saying that don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Mr. Chung is not able to do the role, but obviously the PNP is finding everything possible to thwart the plans of the Prime Minister,
Andrew Holness.
Obviously, Andrew Holness. So you can't blame them for doing their job. You can't blame an opposition leader for doing the job, because even if he is able, and I'm quite sure that Mr. Chung is able to, he may not have all of what is required, because sometimes you've got to give somebody a chance to get experience, isn't it? Even if they've got I mean, there's some people who have the qualifications, but they don't have the experience. And again, you have some people who have the experience and can do the job, but they're not given the opportunity because they don't have the qualifications. So on both sides of the divide, it's going to be very much unfair. It's going to be unfair. However, Mr. Chung may just be the individual to do the job properly. But I don't know him anyway, so I can't. It would be unfair for me to make a judgment call on it. I was just saying, really, that the way Mr. Bunting was going about, and Mark Golden, obviously he's sanctioning Bunting to do what he's saying. You know, for them to try and say, well, this guy is not, he is not able because, again, jokingly, I'm saying he's not of the age group or the age bracket that we are looking to.
How do you think it would be in the UK if anything of this nature? How do you think a key position like that would work in the United Kingdom? How do you think they would go about it?
Obviously, I think I mean, all right, let me ask you about Mr. Chung. What positions outside of government has he held? I mean, does anybody know? Do you know, Silver? What positions has he held outside of government? Or even within government? I mean,
I'm just looking. I was looking at something here which said he was okay. Key points. Okay, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing a history here, but I know he's the president or was the president of the Football Federation and different things. But I'm looking at something here, but it is talking about the PNP question Chung's lack of experience in law enforcement and forensic investigation. and his past comments on Prime Minister's Holiness Integrity Commission battle, government stance. The government has stood by its decision to appoint Chung, who was vetted and approved by the Office of the Service Commission. The PSOJ supports Chung appointment, citing his qualification and experience, while the PNP threatens action if the appointment isn't rescinded. I'm not too sure about these different positions, but this will unfold as time go by. And
I mean, do they have, or have they given a name that they would support? Because it's pointless. It's pointless talking down someone if you yourself, if you're the one that is talking one down, you can't
give an alternative.
Offer an alternative name. So, do they have an alternative?
I think that is a sort of tricky sort of question there, because really and truly,
I don't think it's tricky. It's not tricky.
Well, when you say a person, you see, if I believe a position like that should not come from the opposition, and it should not come from the government. I think a position like that, which is so very critical when it comes on to this level of investigation, if the PNP put forth a name, they're going to say that is to work in their interest. If the JLP put forth a name, it is to work in their own interest. And that is why I keep saying what Jamaica lack is some independent, arbitrary voices, some strong independent voices that one can go to as some sort of elder, senior statesman. That is something that it lack persons like the Governor General, but the Governor General is more like you just take whatever is said, The Governor General, yeah, just did it. Just did it. Collect money, yeah, just did it. Just did it.
But the thing about it, sir, who suggested Mr. Chung?
Who should what?
Does anybody know who suggested him?
Who vested him? What?
Who suggested him?
Well, it is assumed that it is the Prime Minister's recommendation, and this is where we talk a lot about the constitution reform, whereby a lot of power is in the hands of the Prime Minister. I believe something of this nature should come from some sort of independent body, ombudsman, where they go through this vetting process. It is up to tender. It is up to tender for a financial investment department head. Persons to submit their names if they're interested, or persons can be recommended. And then this commission or so go through them and picking them and bring forth a level of independence, I would say. That is lacking, I believe, in Jamaica. That is lacking. And that is why I believe that whenever the next government is formed, and it is incumbent upon the people of Jamaica, it is incumbent upon them to challenge and to put pressure on their prospective parliamentary candidate and say, will you? And therefore, the next leader of the country, whether it is Mark Golden or it is Andrew Holness or if it is another doctor like Dr. The Minister of Health, because it's two doctors, which doctor is the right doctor, people should challenge him, That's what I think, I don't know. Well, anyway, we're not going to labor on this.
If the PSOJ has given their blessing, then and other organizations within the business community has given their blessing to Mr. Chung taking on the position. That means that he must have been recommended. Must have been recommended to the Prime Minister. Because I I cannot see the Prime Minister making a decision like that. And
No. Let me clarify. Let's work out. The Prime Minister don't make the decision. The Prime Minister can make the recommendation, or somebody can make the recommendation, but the Prime Minister do not make the decision. The decision is made by the what do you call it? The Service Commission. The government has to appoint Chung. Yeah, well, the government has to by its decision to appoint Chung. So it's a government, Gary, who has appointed him, and it's approved by the Office of the Services Commission. So it's just like when Chung nominate all these different persons, and then they go through the vetting process with the Congress and Senate and blah 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 to approve them, to confirm them. That is what has happened there. Yeah. So it is the government who has made the recommendation.
Okay, but who's at the head? Who's the head of the government? Isn't it Michael Holness?
Andrew Holness.
So he made, yeah. So what
No. What I said, I can't say, and we do not know if the person who made the recommendation is the Prime Minister, but it's a government appointment. I mean to say, someone within the government, within that fraternity, make that recommendation, and the government look at it and say, yes, we want that. The cabinet approved that. And then, of course, for it to be fully approved, then it goes to the Service Commission, this vetting process. You know what I'm trying to say? So just because the Prime Minister is the head of the government, that doesn't mean to say he's the one that maybe has made the appointment, made the recommendation.
Right.
Maybe he did.
Okay, yeah. Fine. So what I'm saying is that whoever, whether it's the government or whether it's Holness, the thing is that if the business community, which again PSOJ and other entities have supported, if they were not in agreement with that, then you would have heard their voices. But by the very fact you're not hearing anything from them but approval, then obviously they are happy. To me, and I support, and it's in support of what you just said to some extent, that he was recommended and the government has then given its approval and passed on, and it was passed on.
He was recommended and the government approved, and then it was passed on to the commission for them to do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So therefore, the PNP should have, for them to, there's nothing wrong with them opposing or showing their disagreement, but what would probably give them even a better, make them look better or sound better, is that after everything has been said, not unless they've done that at the end and we haven't heard it, and we're not able to hear it, but they themselves
should give a name,
bring a suggestion.
Okay, I see where you're coming from. Yeah, because since we broke it down and we realized that it is a government appointment, that means and the government recommendation, that means to say the opposition should also be thinking about who they think is the best person as well. And really and truly, something of this nature, just like how there are certain areas which is a joint approach. There should have been a joint approach on something of this area whereby it is in consultation. They always say in consultation with the opposition, something like that.
Course.
Anyway, Gary, that's it for today. Well,
let me say, you asked a question and we never really dealt with it, in the sense that about we kind of brought it over into the UK to find out if what they would do here. Yeah, what would they do here? It will be someone, I tell you what, it will be someone of high standing within the business and political world that everybody probably would agree with anyway. Well, some wouldn't agree, obviously, but I believe it wouldn't be someone from a willy-nilly person. It wouldn't be someone that is not known. It would be someone who has some political or business clout. So as to bring some validity to the findings or to whatever the task may be asking for.
Yeah. Someone on TikTok just said you didn't heard Peter Bunting mention some name. So we I think we didn't go all of Peter Bunting thing because of thing was cutting up. But someone is saying here, apparently Peter Bunting did mention a name.
Okay.
Could you let us know who that name is, if anything? Apparently they say Peter Bunting mentioned a name. We didn't finish the press conference because there was a little hiccup there. Yeah. All right. Well, Gary, as usual, it was a great conversation and discussion, and just hope that people take the information and I try as much as not to be biased in regards to this, because by putting up a PNP conference and press conference, person gonna say, yeah, PNP them. The other day I invited UIC last Saturday night. I'm one of the representatives from UIC, so I guess I'm deemed to be a UIC as well. And then I made a determination. I made a statement that, as a matter of fact, I've come to the conclusion. I identify as a JLP, I identify as a PNP, and I identify as a UIC, and I identify as all these civil societies. Yeah, I identify as everything. As Jaman said, someone on TikTok saying, Chung is definitely a conflict of interest by the government. And I tend to want to lean on that side there based on my understanding of the various utterances of Mr. Chung. I don't think he's the right person, but as you say, it is good to get another name. But based on my knowledge of some of the utterances, Gary, and that's why I said I need to bring this to the table. I don't think he's the right person, honestly speaking. And nothing is wrong.
But who do you think?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know, because this, the person that I think would be.
But what do you? But up till now, I still don't understand what is it that what role is he supposed to fill, and what is that role supposed to do? I mean, what is it that he needs to be looking at?
It's investigation, financial investigation division. It investigates.
Over who? With who?
It investigates all these sort of government wranglings with money and all those sort of things. And most importantly, there's going to be an investigation which the Integrity Commission has made a referral that the Prime Minister's statutory declaration need to be investigated. These 28 bank accounts, these companies and all those sort of things. So therefore, this person is going to be responsible to sign off these things, Gary. That's a crucial thing. And that is something which is very crucial at this time, because I personally believe that if someone is being investigated for illicit enrichment, they should not be on the ballot. That's just my personal view. They should not, anyone who's being investigated for illicit enrichment, they should not be on the ballot to run as a government or an MP or a prime minister or whatever. But I know that in Jamaica, that's not going to happen. They're going to still be on the ballot based on how Jamaica go on. If it was in the UK, they would not be on that ballot, Gary. You know that. It's not illegal. Sir?
They would have resigned.
They would have resigned. The prime minister would have listen, just like how they kick out Boris for having a party. A party they kick out Boris for, a COVID party. And yet at the same time, within the government of today in Jamaica, some of them were having parties as well. And they kicked them out and they gone back in power. They removed them and just give them go 2 months, 3 months and hibernate a bit. And they're back in the same position. In the UK, they're gone. That is why people are saying that if Boris come back, yes, we love Boris. And people say, yes, he's charismatic. But that would be the end of the Conservative Party more. Because the whole purpose of him leaving was because of these issues of integrity. And I use the 3 words all one: integrity, integrity. And that is something which is lack in the government of Jamaica. Did you know that they found about 200 guns in Jamaica recently? Yesterday.
Yeah, I read something about that. I mean, where are all these guns and bullets coming from?
Brethren, the question is not where they're coming from. The question is, where are they going and what are they for in an election year? That's a big question. Where are they going and who are they for? Guns are there to kill, Gary. Guns are there to create mayhems. Thank God the police found it. But I always ask this question. So where was it going? Where it come from?
Or who brought it in? Who was bringing it in?
And I would go like this. I would actually, if I knew that there were guns coming in, I would actually don't intercept it, but put some track on it and watch where it's going. Gary, watch where it's going. Who is gonna collect it? It's a serious thing going on in Jamaica, Virgin. You know, serious thing. And I think it is so important at this time for integrity. Crucial. You know? As someone said, Miss Miles, integrity is certainly lacking in government in Jamaica. And I challenge Mr. Mark Golding that if he becomes the next government, sort out these things quickly. Getting the Constitution, dealing with the thing of impeachment, sorting out the issues with recall, sorting out the issue regarding a date for election. Because the Prime Minister said, and I'm becoming out here, the Prime Minister said, him not call election till it's in his favor, till he get all the people sorted. But that shouldn't be, Gary. It shouldn't be. If an election is to be made the 6th, okay, in the UK we know it's May the 6th or May the 5th, you know. We know that's the date we have for these elections. You know. So they're not gonna say we're not call it because we're not ready. The election is already done. You know that is gonna be the date. Whether you're ready or not. Look at Richard Sunak. When Richard Sunak called election, guess what? Not everybody, well, that was a bad move anyhow still. Not everybody was ready. Joala, how are you from Nairobi, Kenya? How is everything good? How is Nairobi, Kenya? How is everything over there? How is Ibrahim Traore over there? I've been keeping an eye on that, you know. Very protect that gentleman over there, you know, guys, you know, and everybody working in partnership and in tangent with Ibrahim Traore over there in Africa. The mother bread, the mother of the world, the land of milk and honey. The richest, you know, the other day, Gary, I was doing a little research, and I said, Google or AI, tell us about Burkina Faso. And it came back and said, Burkina Faso is one of the poorest countries. And then I said, tell me what are the minerals of Burkina Faso? Gold, silver, and all these different things. You know what I mean? I was like, hang on a second. It's not a poor country. It was poor management. It's a rich country. Just like with Africa. Africa is a rich country. See, I'm even rolling my tongue. Africa is a rich country. Rich mineral and riches and everything like that, you know. But the whole thing about is the management factor. And I believe at this time now, it is very important that all, you know, work together to build Africa. Gary, on that note, let me go. I might hang a bit over on TikTok directly with the TikTokers. You need to come on TikTok, you know. TikTok is the place to be, man. Young people hang out like me, you know what I mean?
All right. You can stay over in TikTok then. Stay over in TikTok.
So, where is that? Stay with TikTok.
I said, yeah, man, you can go over to TikTok. Stay with them for
All right, Gary. Well, listen, thank you so much for tonight. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Those on Instagram, just to let you know, those on Instagram, it doesn't save. So you got to go on the YouTube if you want to rewatch, and those on Facebook, it is saved. But I think Facebook is saying every 30 days. I believe it is. Is it not, Gary? I think after every 30 days on Facebook, I think they delete your thing as well. Maybe there's but on YouTube it's there. As Rich, yes, minerals on lands. Yes, Rich, yes, minerals are on lands owned by foreigners. There you go. Yes. All right. Well, anyhow, Gary, have a good night and God bless you and people. All the best and take care till Saturday night and next week. Okay. Bye-bye.